Hey, what's up guys? Scott here, back once more with another video. Okay, today we're going to be taking a little glimpse into the possible future of the MCU post-reboot that will happen with Doomsday and Secret Wars. So, it has been confirmed that after Secret Wars, or that Secret Wars will essentially reset the MCU, because we're heading into this big multiversal storyline, where there's going to be a bunch of different universes involved. The multiverse is maybe going to collapse, So this storyline that we're heading into with Doomsday and Secret Wars is basically the Marvel equivalent of Crisis on Infinite Earths with DC. Essentially, a big, huge storyline that involved multiple Earths and multiple universes collapsing and then being rebooted as one main universe. So that's essentially what's happening here with these films. Now, they have confirmed also that not everything is going to be changed in the new timeline. Some stuff will still be canon, but some things are going to change. Like, apparently we're going to get a new Tony Stark, a new Steve Rogers, and but they have confirmed that some elements of the old timeline will be staying around. So we will just have to wait and see what happens with the reboot. But specifically today in this video, I want to talk about the new X-Men. What I want the post-Secret Wars reboot X-Men to look like. And the team members I want to see on it and kind of all that. So currently in the MCU, there is on Earth 616, which is the main MCU Earth. There is no X-Men. There is no official X-Men team on Earth 616 at this time in the MCU. But we do have mutants. Kamala Khan is a mutant in the MCU. Namor is a mutant in the MCU. So that's two mutants that we know of that have been named as mutants on screen in the MCU. So mutants do exist on Earth 616 at this point in time, pre-reboot. So there's a theory that I read that I think makes a lot of sense, and I like it, that the snap in the canon, the snap in a way either created or awakened the mutant gene in the population of Earth 616 in the MCU. And I think that is a great canon explanation in the story as to the origin of mutants, or the mutant gene on Earth 616. Before we even get to the reboot with Secret Wars and all that, they're already establishing mutants on Earth 616 before and as we're heading into Doomsday and Secret Wars. And as we know in Doomsday and Secret Wars, the old X-Men cast of Fox X-Men, Hugh Jackman, James Marsden, Halle Berry, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Famke Janssen, all of them, this will be their swan song, their send-off. But post reboot, we're gonna need a new young team of X-Men to take their place, right? In the new timeline. So they're already setting the groundwork for that before we even go into the Doomsday and Secret Wars. We have mutants established already. So I'm thinking, even before heading into the reboot, there might be a Jean Grey on Earth 616 that her powers have just awakened. There might be a Aurora Monroe or Storm on Earth 616 whose powers have just awakened. So the characters that become the X-Men could already exist on Earth 616, but their powers are just now starting to blossom after the snap, or their powers are starting to awaken, within them because of the activation of their gene, the mutant gene, which is created or activated by the snap. So I think that the snap is a great way to explain the origin of the mutant gene in the MCU. So now, as far as what I want to see on the post-reboot X-Men team, the new young generation, I do not want to see Wolverine at first, because Hugh Jackman was a great Wolverine. He will always be my Wolverine. But in my opinion, the reboot film needs to focus on a new core group of X-Men. And Wolverine stole the spotlight from a lot of those X-Men characters in the Fox movies. I think Cyclops and Storm and Jean all got shortchanged in those movies. So in the reboot, they need to focus on those core X-Men, establishing them before bringing in Wolverine. Now, I'm not saying Wolverine can't be in the movie, but he does not need to be part of the core team starting out. They can have Wolverine around, but I want them to focus on building this new X-Men team before bringing in Wolverine into it. And so with that, my lineup, I picked 6 of them. I think a great lineup for this new reboot of X-Men, younger X-Men, would be Storm, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman, Kitty Pryde, and Angel. That would be a great starting lineup for the new MCU X-Men post-reboot. And in their first movie, I think they need to fight a villain that's not like A tier, but a villain that's strong enough to bring them all together and would take all of them to defeat. And I think some good choices include Sauron, Juggernaut, or Mr. Sinister. I think either of those choices would be great for them to face in their first movie, to bring them together as a team and learning to use their abilities to, work together and fight, just like the first Avengers did with all those original 6 Avengers. This first X-Men movie could bring together 6 X-Men that have to learn to put aside their differences and work together to defeat the greater threat. And so I think Sauron, Juggernaut, or Mr. Sinister would be a great villain for the first X-Men movie in the MCU. So, yes, I think following Secret Wars, I think the new MCU universe will focus mainly on the X-Men, just like the first 6 phases. By that point, the first 6 phases will focus on the Avengers. Now it's time to focus on the X-Men and their chapter in the MCU. So now I think the Avengers will still be around, but I think their primary focus post Secret Wars is going to be on the X-Men, which I think is good. They need to establish a new core team in the MCU. So anyway, guys, that's kind of just my thoughts on what's upcoming and kind of a little peek into the future of the MCU post Secret Wars, and I cannot wait for the X-Men reboot film. So, and I think even before the reboot, they already have a great canon in-story explanation for where the mutant gene and the origin of mutants on Earth 616 come from via the snap. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with it. All right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay tuned and peace out.